I'm Daisy, 32 years old, and I used to believe that 10 years of marriage meant something. I thought it meant loyalty, trust a foundation strong enough to weather anything. I'd planned the perfect anniversary dinner, bought the perfect gift, imagined the perfect night to celebrate a decade of us. But when the text came through, something came up, can't make it tonight. Everything shattered. Except I didn't cry. I didn't beg. Instead, I found out exactly where he was, and what I discovered that night changed everything. That's when I chose champagne over tears, revenge over resignation, and ultimately a restraining order over reconciliation. Before I share what happened, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Drop your location in the comments below. If you've ever been blindsided by someone you trusted completely, go ahead and hit that like button. And subscribe, because this story has a twist that'll make you want to raise a glass with me. My marriage to Kyle started like a fairy tale. We met in 2012 at a marketing conference in Boston where we both worked in advertising. I was 22, fresh out of college, eager to prove myself as a junior marketing manager. Kyle was 24, charming, ambitious, already making waves as a creative director at one of the city's top agencies. Our first conversation happened at a coffee break. He spilled his latte on my presentation notes, apologized profusely, and offered to buy me dinner to make up for it. I said yes. That dinner turned into a weekend together. That weekend turned into 2 years of the kind of romance that made our friends roll their eyes at how perfect we seemed. Kyle proposed on a beach in Cape Cod at sunset. The ring was modest because we were both still building our careers, but I didn't care. I would have married him with a twist tie. We had a small wedding at Martha's Vineyard in 2014, surrounded by 50 of our closest friends and family. My best friend Natalie was my maid of honor. Kyle's brother stood as his best man. We danced until 3 in the morning and drove off in his beat-up Honda with tin cans rattling behind us. The early years were everything I'd dreamed of. We rented a tiny one-bedroom apartment in Somerville, barely 600 square feet, but it felt like a palace because we were together. Kyle would surprise me with breakfast in bed on Sundays, always the same thing: scrambled eggs with too much pepper toast burned on one side, and coffee so strong it could wake the dead. I loved every bite. We traveled whenever we could scrape together enough money. Paris for our first anniversary, where Kyle tried to speak French and ended up ordering snails when he meant to ask for the bathroom. Tokyo for our second, where we got lost in the subway system for 3 hours and laughed until our stomachs hurt. Iceland for our third, where we watched the northern lights, and Kyle whispered that he wanted to see the world grow old with me. Every Friday was date night. We'd try new restaurants sometimes, fancy places where we'd split an appetizer and dessert to save money, sometimes hole-in-the-wall taco stands where we'd eat standing up. It didn't matter where we went. What mattered was that we went together. By year 5, we'd both gotten promotions. Kyle became senior creative director. I moved up to marketing manager. We finally had enough money to move to a nicer apartment in Back Bay, 2 bedrooms, hardwood floors, a view of the Boston skyline from our living room window. We talked about kids someday, but not yet. We wanted to focus on our careers first. Travel more, build a foundation. Looking back now, I realize that's when things started to shift. So gradually, I didn't notice. Kyle's late nights at the office became more frequent. He'd come home at 9:10, sometimes 11, smelling like coffee and stress. He'd kiss my forehead, say he was exhausted, and fall asleep on the couch with his laptop still open. I understood. I was busy too. My job demanded late hours, weekend work, constant availability. We were both climbing ladders, both chasing success. Date nights became twice a month instead of every week, then once a month, then whenever we could find time. But we still had moments. Sunday mornings when we'd sleep in and order brunch delivery, lazy evenings watching television with takeout containers scattered on the coffee table, the occasional weekend getaway when we both desperately needed a break. I told myself this was normal. This was what happened when two ambitious people built a life together. The passion might dim, but the foundation was solid. Our friends still called us couple goals. At dinner parties, Kyle would put his arm around me and tell stories about our travels. I'd laugh at his jokes, finish his sentences, play the role of the happy wife. And I was happy. Or at least I thought I was. By year 8, Kyle got another promotion. He was now executive creative director, managing a team of 20, overseeing million-dollar campaigns. The money was good. Really good. We could finally afford the things we'd always wanted. Designer furniture for the apartment. A new car for me, a sleek silver Audi that I'd admired in a showroom. Expensive dinners without worrying about splitting appetizers. But Kyle was home even less. Some nights he didn't come home at all, crashing at the office because of deadlines. He'd text me at 2 a.m. "Still working, don't wait up." I'd wake up alone, make coffee for one, and head to my own demanding job. 2 years ago, as we approached our 10th anniversary, I decided we needed to reconnect. A decade of marriage deserved celebration. I wanted to recreate the magic we'd had in those early years. So I started planning 2 months in advance, marking dates on my calendar, making reservations, shopping for the perfect gift. I booked a table at Menton, the same French restaurant where Kyle had taken me on our very first date. It cost $300 just for the reservation, but I didn't care. I bought a black dress from Nordstrom, elegant, and fitted the kind that made me feel beautiful. I scheduled appointments for hair, nails, makeup. I wanted everything to be perfect. For Kyle's gift, I chose an Omega watch he'd been admiring for months. Every time we passed the jewelry store, he'd pause at the window and stare at it. $7,000. I'd been saving secretly for 6 months. The salesperson wrapped it in silver paper with a black ribbon, and I hid it in the back of my closet. Kyle knew the date was coming, of course. We'd talked about it casually. "Can't believe it's been almost 10 years, he'd said one morning over coffee. "Where did the time go?" I'd smiled and said, "We should do something special." He'd agreed. "I'm already planning something. It's going to be a night we'll never forget." Those words echoed in my head in the weeks leading up to our anniversary. A night we'll never forget. I imagined candlelight champagne. Maybe he'd give me jewelry. Maybe he'd say all the things we'd stopped saying. Maybe we'd fall in love all over again. I should have known something was wrong, but I was too busy being hopeful to see the signs. The first crack appeared about a month before our anniversary. It was late, nearly midnight. I'd fallen asleep on the couch waiting for Kyle to come home. I woke up to the sound of his phone buzzing on the coffee table. He was in the shower, and I wasn't trying to snoop. The screen just lit up and I saw it. A text from someone saved as Jay in his contacts. The preview said, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow." My stomach tightened. Jay. I didn't know anyone in Kyle's life with that initial. When he came out of the bathroom toweling his hair, I asked casually, "Who's Jay?" Kyle didn't even pause. "Jordan, new guy on my team. We have a meeting tomorrow about the Lexington account." "Oh," I said, relieved. "He texts you this late." You know how it is. Ad world never sleeps. I accepted the explanation because I wanted to, because the alternative was too terrifying to consider. 2 weeks before our anniversary, I noticed Kyle had started going to the gym. A lot. 5 days a week, sometimes 6. He'd leave at 6 a.m, come back sweaty and energized, shower, and head to work. He'd never been particularly into fitness before. Suddenly, he was buying protein powder, talking about his workout routine, flexing in the mirror. I was happy for him. I thought maybe he was trying to look good for our anniversary. "You're getting buff," I teased one morning. He grinned, kissed my cheek, and said, "Just trying to take care of myself." He also bought new clothes. A leather jacket I'd never seen, designer jeans that fit him perfectly, a new cologne, something spicy and expensive. When I commented on the cologne, he said, "Do you like it? Picked it up at Saks." I did like it. I liked that he was making an effort, but then he started being on his phone constantly, not just checking email, but texting, smiling at the screen, typing quickly with his thumbs. When I'd walk into the room, he'd tilt the phone away, not obviously just enough that I couldn't see. When I'd ask what was so interesting, he'd say, "Just work stuff, boring campaign details." One evening, about 10 days before our anniversary, Kyle came home smelling like perfume. Not his cologne. Women's perfume. Floral and sweet. I noticed it when I hugged him at the door. "You smell nice," I said, trying to keep my voice light. "New cologne." He pulled back, sniffed his shirt. "Oh, must be from the elevator. Some woman was wearing really strong perfume this morning. It's been following me around all day." The explanation made sense, except it was 7 at night and he'd been at work all day. Wouldn't the smell have faded? I pushed the thought away. I was being paranoid. Kyle loved me. We were about to celebrate 10 years. Everything was fine. A week before our anniversary, I discovered he'd been deleting his text messages. I know because I accidentally picked up his phone thinking it was mine. They looked identical, same model, same black case. When I unlocked it, I went to messages to text myself about dinner, and I noticed something strange. There were texts from his brother, his mom, his coworkers, but the threads were all recent, nothing older than 2 days. Kyle had never been the type to delete messages. He was actually kind of a digital hoarder, keeping every email, every photo, every text. So why was he suddenly clearing his history? "Hey," I said when he walked into the kitchen. "Your messages. Do you have it set to auto-delete or something?" His face did something weird. A flash of panic quickly covered. "Oh, yeah. My phone was running out of storage. I cleared some stuff out." "Makes sense," I said, handing him his phone. But it didn't make sense. His phone was the newest model with tons of storage. That night at 2 in the morning, his phone rang. The buzzing woke me up. Kyle's arm shot out, grabbed the phone, declined the call. In the dark, I saw the screen light up with the name Jay again. "Who's calling you at 2 in the morning?" I mumbled, still half asleep. "Wrong number," Kyle said, his voice tight. "It said Jay. Probably a butt dial. Go back to sleep." But I couldn't sleep. I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, listening to Kyle's breathing return to normal. Who was Jay? Why were they calling in the middle of the night, and why did Kyle sound so defensive? The next morning, I tried a different approach. "So, Jordan from your team, tell me about him. What's he like?" Kyle was making coffee, his back to me. "Jordan? Oh yeah, smart, good eye for design, very professional." "How old is he?" "I don't know, late 20s, I guess." "Where's he from?" "I don't know, Daisy. We don't really talk about personal stuff. Why all the questions? Just curious. You're working with him a lot." Kyle turned around, coffee mug in hand. "It's just work. Nothing interesting to tell." But his voice had an edge I'd never heard before. Like I was bothering him. Like my questions were an intrusion. 3 days before our anniversary, I tried to confirm our dinner plans. "So, Saturday night, 7 o'clock at Menton. You remember right?" "Of course I remember," Kyle said, not looking up from his laptop. "Our anniversary. How could I forget? I'm really excited." "Me too." But he didn't sound excited. He sounded distracted. His fingers kept typing. His eyes stayed on the screen. Kyle. Yeah. Are you okay? You seem stressed. Just work. Big presentation next week. I'll be fine. I walked over, put my hand on his shoulder. We can postpone dinner if you need to. No, he said quickly. No, we're doing dinner. I want to. I promise. He reached up, squeezed my hand. For a moment, I felt reassured. This was Kyle, my husband, the man who'd promised to love me forever. He wouldn't lie to me. He wouldn't betray me. I told myself I was being paranoid that work stress was making me see problems that didn't exist. Our anniversary would fix everything. We'd reconnect over champagne and French cuisine, remember why we fell in love, and everything would go back to normal. I had no idea how wrong I was. The morning of our 10th anniversary, I woke up to an empty bed. Kyle's side was cold sheets pulled back, pillow dented where his head had been. I checked my phone. 6:15 in the morning. A text from Kyle. Had to go in early. Big crisis with the Henderson account. See you tonight. Wear something beautiful. I smiled at that last part. Wear something beautiful. He was thinking about our evening. Maybe I'd been worrying over nothing. I spent the entire day preparing. At 9, I had a hair appointment at my usual salon in Newbury Street. My stylist, a chatty woman named Marie, curled my hair in soft waves and pinned half of it up, leaving the rest cascading down my back. At 11, I got my nails done a deep burgundy that matched my new dress. At 1, I came home and started on my makeup. I wanted to look perfect like the woman Kyle had married 10 years ago. By 3 in the afternoon, I was putting on the black dress. It fit like a dream, hugging my curves in all the right places, falling just above my knees. I paired it with black heels that made my legs look endless. I took a selfie in the mirror and sent it to Kyle. Ready for our special night? He replied immediately. You look stunning. Can't wait. Those 3 words made me glow. Can't wait. He was excited. We were going to be okay. At 3:30, my phone rang. Natalie. Hey, birthday girl. Wait, not birthday. Anniversary girl, she said. How are you feeling? Amazing. I'm so ready for tonight. Good. You deserve it. 10 years is huge. We chatted for a few minutes about her kids, her husband plans for the holidays. Then she said something that made my heart skip. Hey, random question. I was at the coffee shop on Newbury Street earlier and I could have sworn I saw Kyle with a woman. They were sitting pretty close. Everything okay with you two? My stomach dropped. What when? Like an hour ago, maybe hour and a half. I didn't want to interrupt because they looked deep in conversation, but it seemed, I don't know, intimate. Am I crazy? Did you see what she looked like? Blonde, late 20s maybe, pretty. I only saw her from the side. Kyle said he was at the office dealing with a crisis. Silence on Natalie's end. Then carefully, maybe it was a work thing. Yeah, probably. Daisy? It's fine, Nat. He's probably meeting with a client or something. Do you want me to send you the photo I took one just in case? My throat went dry. You took a photo. I know it sounds weird, but something felt off. I'm sending it now. My phone buzzed. I opened the image. It was grainy, taken from across the street, but clear enough. Kyle wearing the blue shirt I'd given him for his birthday, sitting across from a blonde woman. They were at a small table by the window. He was leaning forward, holding her hand across the table. She was smiling, looking at him like he was the only person in the world. I zoomed in. The woman's badge was visible around her neck. Same company as Kyle. Daisy, you still there? I have to go. I managed. Daisy, wait. I hung up. My hands were shaking. I called Kyle. Straight to voicemail. I texted. Where are you? 10 minutes passed. 15. Finally, a reply. At the office. Wrapping up some stuff. Why? I stared at his text. He'd lied. He wasn't at the office. He was at a coffee shop with another woman holding her hand, looking at her the way he used to look at me. I texted back. Natalie said she saw you at a coffee shop on Newberry Street. 3 dots appeared immediately, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally. Oh yeah, I stepped out for a quick meeting. Client needed to see some samples. Be done soon. See you at 7 at the restaurant. A meeting with a client who held hands with their clients. I sat down on the edge of the bed, still in my beautiful dress, my perfect hair, my carefully applied makeup, and I felt something crack inside my chest. I couldn't just sit there. I needed answers. I walked to Kyle's home office, a small room where he sometimes worked on weekends. His laptop was there closed on the desk. We'd always shared passwords. It was a trust thing. I knew his, he knew mine. I opened the laptop. It booted up. I went to his email, hands trembling, scrolled through work messages, boring client updates, meeting schedules. Then I saw it. A folder labeled personal. I'd never noticed it before. I clicked it open. Inside were emails. Dozens of them. All to and from jasmine.rogers with Kyle's company domain. The most recent was from that morning. Subject line tonight. I clicked it open. Kyle, I can't wait for tonight. Finally, we can stop hiding. I know your anniversary is today, but you said you'd choose me. I'll be waiting at our place at 7. I love you so much. Jay. Kyle's reply. I'll be there. This has been the hardest decision of my life, but you're worth it. Can't keep living a lie. See you tonight. I love you too. I read it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. The words didn't change. Our place. At 7. The same time as our anniversary dinner. He wasn't planning to come to Menton. He was planning to meet her. I scrolled up reading earlier emails. 6 months of them. 6 months of I miss you, and can't stop thinking about you, and when can we be together? 6 months of plans and promises and lies. 1 email from 3 weeks ago. I've never felt this way about anyone. My marriage has been dead for years. You make me feel alive again. Another from last week. I booked us a flight to Vermont this weekend. Let's celebrate our new beginning properly. By Monday, I'll tell Daisy everything. Tell Daisy everything. By Monday, 3 days from now. He was going to leave me. He'd made the decision. He'd chosen her. And tonight, on our 10th anniversary, he was going to stand me up at the restaurant while he celebrated with his mistress. I sat there, laptop open, emails glowing on the screen. My vision blurred. I couldn't breathe. 10 years. A decade of my life. And he'd thrown it away for someone named Jasmine, who wore his company badge and made him feel alive. The doorbell rang, pulling me back. I wiped my eyes, walked to the door in a daze. A delivery man stood there with a huge bouquet of red roses. Delivery for Daisy Morrison. I took them, signed his tablet. The card said, to 10 more years, love Kyle. I looked at the flowers at the card, at his handwriting that I'd seen on birthday cards and anniversary notes and love letters, and something inside me shifted. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to fall apart. I wasn't going to sit here like a victim waiting for him to come home and explain or apologize or do whatever he thought would make this okay. I walked to the kitchen, put the roses on the counter, opened the refrigerator, pulled out the bottle of champagne I'd bought for tonight, the expensive kind we'd been saving for our celebration. I popped the cork right there in the kitchen, poured a glass, and drank it in one long swallow. Then I poured another glass and started making a plan. At 6:15, my phone buzzed. Kyle. Babe, I'm so sorry. Something came up at work. A client emergency. The Henderson account is falling apart. I have to stay late and fix it. I stared at the text. The lie was so smooth, so practiced. Like he'd been preparing it all day. Another text. Can we reschedule our dinner? I feel terrible. This is not how I wanted today to go. I typed back, my fingers steady now. Of course. Work comes first. Don't worry about it. 3 dots. You're the best. I'll make it up to you. I promise. I know you will. I love you. I looked at those 3 words. How many times had he said them while carrying on with Jasmine? How many times had he kissed me goodbye and then texted her? I didn't reply to the I love you. Instead, I opened a new text to Natalie. I need you to come over, now, and bring your camera. She responded immediately. On my way. While I waited, I went back to Kyle's email. I screenshotted everything. Every email, every I love you, every plan they'd made. I emailed them all to myself. Then I searched for the address Jasmine had mentioned. Our place. Found it. An apartment building in South End. Nice area. Expensive. I checked Kyle's credit card statements online. Sure enough, a monthly payment to Harbor Point Properties. $1,500 a month. For 6 months. He'd rented an apartment for them. A love nest. Using our joint account. I kept digging. Found more charges. Tiffany's. $3,000. Flowers sent to an address I didn't recognize. Dinner reservations at restaurants I'd never been to. All on our credit card. All for her. $35,000. That's what I found. $35,000 of our savings spent on his affair. Natalie arrived 20 minutes later, breathless camera bag over her shoulder. She took one look at my face and said, What happened? I showed her everything. The emails, the charges, the apartment. She read in silence, her expression shifting from shock to fury. That son of a... I'm going to the apartment, I said. What, Daisy? Why? Because I want to see his face when he realizes I know, and I want proof. Photos, video, everything. For the divorce lawyer. Natalie's eyes widened. Then she nodded. I'm coming with you, and I'm documenting all of it. We took my car, the silver Audi Kyle had bought me for our 8th anniversary. The same car he'd probably driven to see Jasmine countless times. We drove through early evening traffic, neither of us speaking. I felt strangely calm. The champagne had helped. Or maybe it was the clarity that came from finally knowing the truth. We parked across the street from the apartment building at 7:15. Lights glowed in windows. Young professionals coming home from work. A doorman in the lobby. Very nice. Very expensive. Apartment 512, I said, checking my phone. 5th floor. How are we getting in? I'm his wife. I have every right to be here. We walked to the building. The doorman smiled. Can I help you? I'm here to see my husband. Kyle Morrison. Apartment 512. The doorman checked his tablet. Mr. Morrison is in. Go right up. The elevator ride felt like forever. Natalie stood next to me, camera ready. When the doors opened on the 5th floor, I could hear music playing softly. Jazz. Kyle's favorite. We walked down the carpeted hallway, found apartment 512. I could see light under the door, smell something cooking, garlic and wine. I rang the doorbell. Footsteps. The lock turning. The door opened. Kyle stood there in the blue shirt from this morning, sleeves rolled up, wine glass in hand. Behind him I could see candlelight, a table set for two, rose petals scattered on the hardwood floor. For a second he just stared at me. Then his face went white. "Daisy," he said. "What? How did you—" I walked past him into the apartment. Natalie followed, camera already recording. The place was beautiful. Modern furniture, exposed brick, large windows overlooking the city, photos on the mantle. Kyle and Jasmine at a beach. Kyle and Jasmine at a restaurant. Kyle and Jasmine smiling like they were in love. From the kitchen, a woman's voice. "Kyle, who is it?" She appeared in the doorway, blonde, beautiful, younger than me, wearing a red cocktail dress that probably cost more than my rent. When she saw me, she froze. "Oh," she said. I turned to Kyle. "Client emergency, huh?" He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "Daisy, I can explain." "Please do. I'd love to hear how you explain celebrating our 10-year anniversary with your mistress." Jasmine stepped forward, her chin up. "I'm not his mistress. He loves me." I looked at her, really looked at her. She was young, confident, wearing a necklace I recognized. Tiffany's. $3,000 on our credit card. "Did he tell you he loves you?" I asked. "That's sweet. He told me that this morning, too." Kyle moved between us. "Daisy, I was going to tell you. I just needed time." "Time." I laughed, and it sounded harsh even to my own ears. "You've had 6 months, and apparently you chose tonight. Our anniversary. How poetic." "I didn't want to hurt you." "But you did want to start a new life with her, in an apartment you leased while still married to me, using our joint account, I assume." Kyle said nothing. I pulled out my phone, showed him the screenshots. $35,000, Kyle. That's what I found. Dinners, jewelry, this apartment, plane tickets. All our money. All for her. Jasmine looked at Kyle. "You said you paid for all that yourself." "I did," Kyle stammered. "I mean, it's my money too." "It's our money," I corrected. "Joint account. Joint savings, which you stole from to fund your affair." Natalie was getting everything on camera. The apartment, the romantic setup. Kyle's panicked face, Jasmine's expensive jewelry. Jasmine stepped closer to me. "Look, I'm sorry you had to find out this way, but Kyle and I are in love. He hasn't been happy with you for years. He told me. You guys grew apart. He deserves to be with someone who understands him." I stared at her. This girl barely in her late 20s telling me about my marriage. "Congratulations," I said. "You win a cheater. I hope that makes you happy." "He's not a cheater," Jasmine insisted. "He's just been trapped in a loveless marriage. He's finally free now." I turned to Kyle. "Is that what you told her, that our marriage is loveless?" Kyle looked at the floor. "Daisy, we've grown apart. You have to admit that. We barely see each other. We don't connect anymore. So instead of talking to me, instead of trying to fix it, you started sleeping with someone from your office and rented an apartment with our money." "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like? Kyle, explain it to me." He couldn't. He just stood there, wine glass still in his hand, looking between me and Jasmine, like he couldn't figure out how this had gone so wrong. I pulled the second bottle of champagne from my bag, the one I'd brought from home. I'd planned to share it with Kyle tonight at Menton. Instead, I opened it right there in his love nest. The cork popped. I poured it into Jasmine's wine glass on the table. "Cheers to new beginnings," I said, raising the glass. I took a long drink, then set it down. "Enjoy your new life, Kyle. You're going to need all the happiness you can get, because when my lawyer is done with you, this'll be the nicest place you can afford." I turned to leave. Kyle grabbed my arm. "Daisy, wait. Can we talk about this?" I looked at his hand on my arm, then at his face. "Talk. You had 10 years to talk. You chose silence and lies." I pulled away. "Natalie, did you get everything?" "Every word and every frame." Kyle's eyes widened. "You recorded this." "I did. For my lawyer, for the court, and for anyone who asks why I'm divorcing you." Jasmine's voice rose. "You can't do that without permission. That's illegal." I smiled at her. "Actually, in Massachusetts I can. One-party consent state. Look it up." I walked to the door. Kyle followed, still trying to explain, to justify, to make me understand, but I was done listening. In the hallway, the door closing behind me, my knees suddenly felt weak. Natalie caught my elbow. "You okay?" "No," I said. "But I will be." Natalie drove me to her house in Cambridge. Her husband took one look at my face and disappeared upstairs with their 2 kids. Natalie poured us both champagne, what was left of the bottle I'd opened at the apartment, and we sat on her couch. 10 years, I said, staring at the bubbles in my glass. I gave him 10 years of my life. "He's an idiot. You deserve so much better." I should have seen the signs. They were all there. The late nights, the phone calls, the gym, the new clothes. It was so obvious. "Don't blame yourself. He's the one who cheated. He's the one who lied." My phone started buzzing. "Kyle." I let it go to voicemail. It buzzed again. Again. By the 10th call, I looked at Natalie. Should I answer? "Do you want to?" I didn't. I blocked his number. Then I checked my texts. 15 messages, all from Kyle. "Please let me explain. It's not what you think. I made a mistake. I still love you. We can work through this. Don't do anything rash." I deleted them all without reading past the previews. "What's your next move?" Natalie asked. I took a breath. "I need a lawyer. The best divorce lawyer in Boston. Someone who'll make sure he doesn't get away with this." "I know someone. Sarah Martinez. She handled my cousin's divorce. Took her ex to the cleaners." "Can you text me her number?" Natalie did it immediately. I looked at the time. 8:30 on a Saturday night. Too late to call now, but first thing Monday morning, I was going to start the process of ending my marriage. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay on Natalie's guest bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment. Every lie Kyle had told. Every time he'd kissed me and then texted her. Every "I love you" that meant nothing. Around 3 in the morning, I got up and started making a list on my phone. Every piece of evidence I had. The emails, the credit card statements, the apartment lease, the video from tonight, screenshots of his texts. I organized it all into a folder, backed it up to the cloud, emailed it to myself from 3 different accounts. By sunrise, I had a plan. I wasn't going to be a victim. I wasn't going to let Kyle destroy me. I was going to fight back with everything I had. Monday morning, I called attorney Sarah Martinez's office the second they opened at 8. "I need to file for divorce," I told the receptionist. "As soon as possible, and I have significant evidence of adultery and financial misconduct. Can you come in at 1 o'clock this afternoon?" "I'll be there." I spent the morning printing every piece of evidence, bank statements showing the $35,000 in suspicious charges, the apartment lease Kyle had signed using our joint account, screenshots of emails spanning 6 months, the video from Saturday night. I put it all in a binder organized by date tab marked. At 1 o'clock, I sat across from Attorney Martinez in her office on State Street. She was in her 40s, sharp eyes, expensive suit. She listened to my story without interrupting. Then she went through my binder page by page. When she finished, she looked up at me. This is pretty clear-cut. Adultery, financial deception, misuse of marital assets. Massachusetts is a no-fault state, so we can't use adultery as grounds for the divorce itself, but this evidence will significantly affect property division. What does that mean? It means you'll get more than half. He used joint funds to support an affair. The court doesn't look kindly on that. Plus, the video shows he was planning to abandon the marriage. That demonstrates fault. How much more than half? With this evidence, I'd say 60 to 65% of marital assets. Plus, given the length of your marriage and the circumstances, you may be entitled to spousal support. How long will this take? Depends on how cooperative he is. If he fights, could be 6 months to a year. But with this evidence, she tapped the binder, he won't have much to fight with. My guess is he'll want to settle quickly to avoid this going to trial. When can we file? I'll have the papers ready by tomorrow. We can file Wednesday. I nodded. Do it. As I left her office, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Daisy. Kyle's voice. Please don't hang up. How did you? I blocked you. I'm calling from the office. Daisy, we need to talk. This is crazy. We can work this out. There's nothing to work out, Kyle. I'm filing for divorce. My lawyer will contact yours. Daisy, I made a mistake. I ended things with Jasmine. It was stupid. I want to fix our marriage. I stopped walking on the sidewalk. You ended things with her. Yes, last night, after you left. I realized what I was throwing away. I love you. I want us to try again. Let me get this straight. You only ended it because I caught you. Not because you felt guilty. Not because you realized what you were doing was wrong, but because I found out. Silence. That's what I thought, I said. Goodbye, Kyle. Wait, can we meet, talk in person? No. From now on, all communication goes through my lawyer. I hung up. Blocked the office number too. Wednesday morning, Attorney Martinez filed the divorce papers. Kyle was served at his office around 11. By noon, my phone was exploding with calls from blocked numbers. I ignored them all. That afternoon, following my lawyer's advice, I went to our bank and transferred 50% of our joint savings into a new account in my name only. $42,000. My half. I changed the passwords on all our joint accounts, removed Kyle's access to my credit cards, contacted my HR department, and updated my beneficiary information from Kyle to Natalie. Kyle must have realized immediately because by 3 o'clock he showed up at our apartment. I wasn't there anymore. I'd moved in with Natalie temporarily, but I'd gone back to pick up some clothes. When I walked out of the building, Kyle was getting out of a taxi. Daisy! He ran toward me. I kept walking to my car. Daisy, please. What are you doing? You emptied our account. I took my half. 50%. That's fair. How am I supposed to live? You should have thought of that before you spent $35,000 on your mistress. She's not. I told you I ended it with her. I don't care, Kyle. We're done. He grabbed my arm. Not hard, but enough to stop me. You can't just throw away 10 years. I pulled away. I'm not the one who threw it away. You did that when you chose her. A neighbor I recognized, Mrs. Chen from the 3rd floor, was watching from the doorway. I was glad someone was witnessing this. Kyle's voice rose. You're ruining my life. I can't afford the apartment lease and rent somewhere else. I'll have to break the lease. Do you know what that'll cost me? The apartment you rented for your affair, I really don't care what it costs you. You're being vindictive. I'm being fair. You stole from our marriage. I'm taking back what's mine. He stepped closer, his face red. This is crazy. You've changed. You're not the woman I married. You're right. The woman you married would have cried and begged and tried to save a marriage that was already dead. But I'm not her anymore. I got in my car and drove away. In my rearview mirror, I could see Kyle standing on the sidewalk alone. That night, he started texting from yet another new number. You're going to regret this. I'll make sure you get nothing in the divorce. Everyone will know what a vindictive person you are. You're destroying me. The texts got angrier, more frequent. By midnight, I had 37 messages, some threatening, some pleading, all desperate. Thursday morning, Kyle showed up at my office. Security called me from the lobby. Mrs. Morrison, your husband is here. He's asking to see you. Should we send him up? No. Tell him to leave. He's refusing. Says he needs to talk to you. It's urgent. Call the police if he doesn't leave. 10 minutes later, security called back. We've escorted him out. He wasn't happy, but he left. My boss, Patricia, stopped by my desk. Is everything okay? Security mentioned an incident. I'd been dreading this conversation. I'm going through a divorce. My husband is not handling it well. Patricia's expression softened. I'm sorry. Do you need any time off? No. Work is actually helping me stay focused. Well, if he shows up again, let security know immediately. We have protocols for this. Friday morning at 2 a.m, Kyle showed up at Natalie's house. He pounded on the door, shouting my name. Natalie's husband called the police while I hid upstairs with Natalie and the kids, all of us terrified. The police arrived in 8 minutes. I heard their voices through the window, calm and authoritative, telling Kyle to step back. Then car doors slamming. Silence. An officer came to the door. Natalie answered. Ma'am, we've issued your guest's husband a warning. If he comes back, we'll arrest him for trespassing and disturbance. Does Mrs. Morrison want to file a report? I came downstairs. Yes, I want it on record. The officer took my statement. As he was leaving, he said, Ma'am, you might want to consider a restraining order. His behavior is escalating. Saturday morning, I met with Attorney Martinez again. We need to file for a restraining order, she said, echoing the officer's words. Kyle's behavior is getting dangerous. He hasn't hurt me. Not yet, but harassment threats showing up at your work and home, that's serious, and it helps your divorce case. Shows a pattern of controlling behavior. Will it make things worse? It might make him angrier temporarily, but it'll also protect you legally. If he violates it, he'll be arrested. That usually makes people think twice. Okay, let's do it. We filed the petition that afternoon. I included everything: the threatening texts, the workplace incident, the late-night disturbance at Natalie's house, the police report. Monday morning, we went to court. Kyle was there with his lawyer, a man in a gray suit who looked bored. The judge reviewed our petition, listened to Kyle's lawyer argue that I was overreacting, and then granted a temporary restraining order. Kyle had to stay 300 feet away from me at all times. No contact except through lawyers. No coming to my workplace or any residence where I was staying. Violation meant immediate arrest. When the judge read the order, Kyle's face went white, then red. He started to stand up. His lawyer pulled him back down. I could see him mouthing something at me across the courtroom. It looked like, "This isn't over." But it was over. At least the first phase was. Over the next few weeks, discovery began for the divorce. Kyle's lawyer had to turn over financial records. That's when more truth emerged. The $35,000 I'd found was just the beginning. Kyle had opened a credit card in his name, only charged another $20,000 on it. Trips to Vermont, Rhode Island, New York, all with Jasmine. Jewelry, clothes, expensive dinners. He'd also been transferring money from our joint savings to an account in his name. $2,000 a month for 8 months. $16,000 gone. In total, Kyle had taken or spent over $70,000 of our money on his affair. Attorney Martinez was furious. "This is financial misconduct on a massive scale. We're going to crucify him in court." But we didn't have to go to court. 2 months into the process, Kyle's lawyer called Attorney Martinez with a settlement offer. Kyle would agree to 65% of remaining assets going to me, reimburse the $70,000 over time, pay my legal fees, and agree to spousal support for 2 years. "It's a good offer," Attorney Martinez said. "Better than we might get if we went to trial. He knows he's screwed." What changed? Why is he suddenly willing to settle? She smiled. "I heard through the grapevine that his company is investigating him and Jasmine for workplace misconduct. Office relationships violate their ethics policy. He's facing possible termination, and Jasmine apparently broke up with him 2 weeks ago. She decided she didn't want the drama." I should have felt sorry for him. Instead, I felt nothing. "I'll take the settlement." We signed papers in early May. 6 months after our 10th anniversary, my marriage was officially over. The first thing I did after the divorce was finalized was sell our apartment. Too many memories. Every room reminded me of Kyle, of the life we'd built, of the lies he'd told. I sold it in 3 weeks to a young couple who were thrilled to get a place in Back Bay. I used my share of the proceeds to buy a small condo in Cambridge overlooking the Charles River. It was mine. Only mine. I decorated it exactly how I wanted. Bright colors instead of the neutral tones Kyle had preferred. Plants everywhere hanging from the ceiling lining the windowsills. Artwork I'd picked up at local galleries. A reading nook by the window with a velvet chair and good lighting. Nothing in that condo reminded me of my old life. At work, things got better too. Patricia, my boss, took me out to lunch one day and said, "You've been through hell this year. You've handled it with grace. We're promoting you to senior marketing director." The new position came with a significant raise and more responsibility. I threw myself into work leading campaigns, traveling to meet clients. New York, San Francisco, Chicago, even London for a week. Each trip felt like freedom. I made new friends through a yoga class Natalie convinced me to try. Women like me in their 30s rebuilding their lives. We'd go for coffee after class, share stories, laugh about terrible dates. Because yes, I started dating. Casually, nothing serious. A dinner here, a movie there. I wasn't ready for commitment, but I was ready to remember that men could be kind, honest fun. Natalie remained my rock. Every Friday we'd have dinner at her house or mine. She'd bring wine, I'd cook, and we'd sit for hours talking. About life, about healing, about what came next. "You're different now," she said one night about 8 months after the divorce. "Stronger. I feel different. I feel like myself again. Like I'd been living in someone else's life for years." "Are you happy?" I thought about it. "I'm getting there. Some days are harder than others. But yeah, I'm happy. Or at least I'm heading in that direction." I never heard from Kyle directly again. The restraining order expired after a year, but he never contacted me. Through mutual friends, I heard bits and pieces. He'd lost his job at the agency. Jasmine had moved to California. He was working at a smaller company now, making less money, living in a studio apartment in Alston. One day, almost a year after the divorce, I got an email from him. Just one line. "I'm sorry for everything. I made the biggest mistake of my life." I read it 3 times. Then I deleted it without responding. There was nothing to say. Sorry didn't change what he'd done. Sorry didn't give me back the years I'd wasted. Sorry didn't heal the betrayal. I moved forward. That's all I could do. By the time our anniversary date rolled around again, exactly 2 years after that terrible night, I was in a completely different place. I took myself out to dinner, not to Menton. That place held too many ghosts. Instead, I went to a new restaurant in the Seaport, sat at the bar, ordered champagne and oysters. The bartender, a guy in his 30s with kind eyes, made conversation. "Celebrating something." "My divorce anniversary," I said. He laughed. "Is that a thing?" "It is now." He poured me another glass. "This one's on the house. To new beginnings." I raised my glass. To new beginnings. Looking back now, that anniversary night 2 years ago was both the worst and best night of my life. Worst because I watched my marriage end in real time, saw my husband choose someone else, felt my heart break in a way I didn't think was possible. But it was also the best night because it forced me to choose myself. I learned that champagne tastes better when you're celebrating your own strength instead of drowning your sorrows. I learned that revenge isn't about hurting someone back. It's about getting justice, protecting yourself, and moving forward with your head high. That restraining order wasn't vindictive. It was necessary. It gave me space to heal without Kyle's chaos constantly pulling me back. Some people called me bitter, vindictive, cold. They said I should have tried to work it out, that 10 years was worth fighting for, but there's a difference between being bitter and refusing to be a doormat. There's a difference between giving up and knowing when to walk away. I didn't destroy Kyle. He destroyed himself with his choices, his lies, his greed. I just made sure I didn't go down with him. I protected what was mine. I fought for my dignity. And I won. Those 10 years felt like a waste at first. A decade of my life given to someone who didn't value it. But now I see them differently. They were tuition for the most important lesson I've ever learned. Know your worth. Never settle for someone who sees you as an option. Never stay in a situation that requires you to shrink yourself. The woman I am now wouldn't recognize the woman I was on that anniversary morning. That woman was so focused on pleasing her husband, on saving her marriage, on being perfect. This woman knows that perfection is a lie. This woman knows that sometimes love isn't enough. This woman knows when to fight and when to walk away. I don't carry anger toward Kyle anymore. Anger is exhausting, and he's already taken enough of my energy. Instead, I carry lessons, red flags to watch for, boundaries to maintain, self-respect to protect. His betrayal taught me more about myself than 10 years of marriage ever did. Some nights when I'm alone in my condo looking out at the river, I think about that night. The moment I saw those emails, the moment I walked into that apartment, the moment I chose champagne over tears. And I'm grateful. Not for the pain, but for the strength I didn't know I had. If you're watching this and facing something similar, if someone you trusted has betrayed you, if you're sitting there wondering if you're strong enough to leave, let me tell you something. You are. You're stronger than you know, and you deserve better than lies. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to fight for what's yours. You're allowed to protect yourself with every legal tool available. Restraining orders aren't dramatic. They're smart. Divorce lawyers aren't excessive. They're necessary. Taking your fair share isn't greedy. It's justice. But most importantly, you're allowed to walk away with your head high knowing you did everything you could and it still wasn't enough. Because sometimes it's not about what you did or didn't do. It's about the choices other people make. And you can't control that. You can only control your response. So pour yourself that champagne. You've earned it. Put on that dress you've been saving. Do your makeup. Take yourself out. Celebrate your own strength, your own resilience, your own worth. Because you are worth celebrating even when, especially when someone else couldn't see it. And if you're the person who made those choices, who betrayed someone's trust, who thought the grass was greener, I hope you learn before you lose everything that matters. I hope you realize that excitement fades, but character lasts. I hope you understand that new relationships built on lies will always crumble. But that's not my lesson to teach anymore. I've learned mine, and I'm better for it. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to make the choice between fighting for something broken or walking away? How did you find the strength? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to hear more stories about resilience, justice, and choosing yourself. Share this with someone who might need to hear it, someone who's questioning whether they're strong enough to leave. Tell them they are. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. I hope wherever you are in your journey, whether you're in the middle of heartbreak or on the other side of healing, you know that better days are coming. You will laugh again. You will trust again. You will love again, but this time you'll do it with wisdom. Take care of yourselves out there. You're worth it.